everybody. Just gonna get started here in a bit. Plugging the last bits of gear in and pulling faders down. If you've got a piece of audio that you want us to look at, go ahead and put it up into the chat, a download. Don't put the audio into the chat, just upload it to WeTransfer or whatever and take a look at it if we get the chance. We'll get rolling in just a second. You can go ahead and pre-ask any questions that you want in the chat room as well. And if you're on an iPad or whatever, I don't know, my iPad does this all the time where it hides the chat, which is weird. You might need to rotate it so that it shows you the chat. Anyway, we'll get rolling in a second. It's gonna be a good one. So fun. Hey, Jody. Jody, did you download the Foley library yet? We're basically, we've overloaded the bandwidth of our server, so I hope you were able to get it and zip it. A couple of people were having some trouble unzipping the files, which a little weird. They're just zip files, and I guess some PC folks had some trouble. I mean, yeah, I'm on a Mac, but I mean, I thought a zip file was a zip file, but what do I know? Hopefully you had no trouble and are loving it. Hey, Leonardo. Brazil's on one time zone, I don't know. I don't know. My understanding is you're like East Coast, so it'd be like 9 p.m. Is that right? I don't know. Jody, are you on a PC? Oh man, there's something about these zip files that only want to unzip on Macs. I don't understand why a zip file would do that. If anybody knows how to unzip a file so that it how to zip a file so that it zips on anything, let me know, because I don't understand. 12 p.m. in Sao Paulo. Wow. 12 a.m. Okay. Well, that's a very different time zone. No central directory. Man, I have no idea what that means. Nor do I have any idea how to deliver them except in a zip file format. Because if you unzip, if I just upload them, which I can do, Google Drive will demand that you download each folder one at a time, and there are a billion folders, and it will actually zip the folders there. It's kind of a pain. Well, shoot, that's a bummer. I guess all the PC people are having trouble with it, unzipping the files. Figure out some way to do that. Well, I'll figure it out. My problem. Okay. Oh, look, we're at time. Let's see, let me get this back rolling. There we go. Yeah, Max, I know you're already there in Tomorrowland. Tomorrowland for those of you Disneyland people. All right, so let's kill the music and get rolling. Much to be done. This is going to be our last compression for the year. I will not be in town otherwise. Let me get back here. I'll not be in town by the next Thursday. Well, anyway, I'm not going to be in town for the holidays. So this will be our last one. And it's a very apropos one since we're going to be demoing the very brand new De-Reverb aspect of Adobe Audition. And if you haven't tried it out, well, I'll let you decide if you like it. But if I know Max and Jody and a few others have downloaded their Foley libraries. Thank you again. Thank you so much for pre-ordering, trusting that we would deliver it. And of course, we still have the actual library to deliver, which to me is the most fun part. You can trigger it from a keyboard. It's so awesome. That's going to be, I don't actually have a release date for that yet, but they ran into a little snag in the wonderful world of programming. They didn't really realize how big how big it was. I mean, you all are getting about 35 gigabytes worth of samples, which is a lot. The actual library is going to be probably in the 20 zone, which is not like, a gigantic 100 gigabyte library, but it's still a lot, especially if it's just Foley and sound effects. So, I mean, most libraries are 3. This is 20. So I think you're going to get a lot of value out of it. And again, thank you so much for pre-ordering, for trusting us. And we're already in production for those of you who have pre-ordered the Final Cut Pro X audio presets. We just finished the EQ presets, so we're able to now move forward on that. While the Foley folk, not the editors, the programmers are doing the library part in Contact. Super cool. What else is cool? Let's see, the certificates are still going. What else? Well, obviously, if you are watching this, hopefully you've been able to, either you're a MZ Pro member and you've watched any of the chapters on cleaning up. We're not going to go through a specific chapter because I just want to really dedicate this show to this new this new aptitude, this new capability of Audition, and show you a couple of the tricks. But hopefully you're an MZ Pro member, you've watched these chapters in the fixed volume, or you've gone to our store or to Vimeo and you've either rented or bought the chapters, the volume on fix, because I'm not going to be doing a lot of explanation today. We're going to just jump in. It's going to be, if you haven't watched it, you're going to be a little bit behind, because that's, the purpose of this show is to hopefully, at some point, some of y'all are going to send me some audio and we'll be able to fix it or deal with it or listen to it or whatever you need on the show live. But other than that, it's just a review of what we've done in the education, the 85-hour education. Oh, I know what's exciting, that we just shipped our first hard drive to a member in Texas who bought the whole Cinema Sound education. We ship you a hard drive with it on there, including the stuff that's been replaced, which includes all the Rode microphone stuff, which is no longer in the education. But if you buy the hard drive, we put it in there, and we put every downloadable product, the Adobe Premiere Pro presets, all the Quick Start Guide, everything, including a copy of my book with my thanks. So that's on the store now. We just shipped our first one. Got all the kinks worked out of that. And those of you who are on a PC with the Foley library right now, I'm going to figure out something. And in fact, Jody, if you're willing, I may kind of test with you to get it up and running with one of the smaller files. I may try a RAR, and see how it goes. If you're willing, that'd be cool. Hey, John, Gary. Let's see. Oh, you've been using it. Oh, that's so cool. I'm so glad. There's Becky. But by the way, for those of you who have, in fact, watched the education, you know that we have actors for the 5 short films that we have. And Colton, Joshua, and of course, Rivka Ravenwood. And she is with us. Apparently, R. Wood. There she is with her cat face. Thanks, Jody. That'll be great. I'll see if I can figure that out tonight and send you a test. Without further ado, let's jump into Adobe Audition. Bam. There we are. The very familiar Cinema Sound compression session where we've got the Blade of Honor stems here and the epic music that we play. But we're not going to do any of this. We're going to look over here to the File menu. That's this over here. You know, you can organize your session. I've got actually two screens. You're only able to see the one right now. But you know, if you go up here to Window, you can pull down and do Workspace, and then you have all kinds of things in here. This is obviously not the default because your default doesn't look like this. This is my personal default. But anyway, over here in the Files menu are all of the files that go that are integrated into your session and any session. And one of the great things about Adobe Audition is you can have multiple sessions open, copy and paste between them. It's one of the ways we do delivery when we want to import sounds into our template, which we showed you how to do in the edit volume, both of this, actually only in this show. So in fact, I think that's still on our channel. Okay, so what I've done is I've taken the Rode IXY, which is the little stereo recorder you stick in your phone, Lightning, and excuse me, I've gone around my house and recorded, just fooling around. It's stereo, just me in various rooms: a bathroom, the kitchen, a bedroom, a very, very tight bathroom, and then in the studio. And let's see what De-Reverb does. And we're going to try to compare it, if I have time, with RX. I've got RX 6. I'm not upgraded. That's going to be on next year's taxes, upgrading to RX 6. All right, so let's just see. What's this one? I'm going to double click on this file, and we end up here in the spectral view. Let's see what we got.
Check 1, 2, 3. The reverberous bathroom sibilance. Bass frequency reflection. Check 1.
All right, so if we look at the waveform, you can see that it's very, very low. So the first thing we want to do is do a normalization. We go to Effects, Amplitude and Compression, Normalize, Process. Remembering that in this mode, processing will destructively change the file only after you hit Save. I never normalize to 0 because that doesn't leave any room for processing. It'll just go over in great distortion. So I like to leave a little bit, like 3 decibels of headroom, -3. I hit Apply, and you can see that everything gets brighter. Becky, what did you put on here? Oh, hi. Oh, it's a guitar. I see. Where do you get these emojis? That's like, you're like the emoji queen. All right, now we should be able to hear it much better.
Check 1, 2, 3. The reverberous bathroom sibilance.
And you can hear that it's stereo. Of course, you can see that it is. And you can hear that bathroom reverb.
Check 1, 2, 3. The reverberous bathroom.
And if you look carefully, I'm going to pull up the marquee tool. Yes. See this little line right here? See how these stop? That's the actual reverb. You can see tails of it coming off. And that's the sound going into the room, banging around in the bathroom, coming back to the microphone thousands and thousands of times a second. You can see it deeply over here. And you can see the resonant frequency of the room is down here because the rings here are much, much louder than up here. One of the great things about Audition D-reverb is you can actually control that. Where is this? This looks like, yeah, somewhere in the 200 hertz. The first overtone of my voice. And let's see if we take a listen to that. Sounds like I'm in a weird room, those frequencies, right? I mean, now that I've exposed you to it, now listen for it.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2.
Ooh, that sound.
1, 2, 3.
That's bad, right? It's over here too.
1, 2, 3 in stereo.
Ooh. How about here?
Bass.
It's pretty awful. And that's what's going to give you that part of what's going to give you that sense of ringingness, adding like literal pitches to the sound, which we don't like very much. And it's not just there, it's all over. So how do we deal with this? Well, teach Adobe Audition what to do, but take this little sentence.
Check 1, 2, 3.
Notice that now once I select, I no longer have to go over here and hit the play button. It'll play with the plugin activated. Notice I have auto gain on. Sometimes when you have reverb, de-reverbing, it drops the level. In this case, it keeps it the same, which is super dope. Now, what are all these things? Well, this is pretty obvious. How much de-reverbing do you want? This is loop. This is whether it's on or off. This is pretty normal. You also have some presets, heavy reverb, but you don't need any of these. This is pretty obvious. What isn't obvious, and certainly wasn't obvious to me, are these bits right here. Like, what's this? And I had to go look it up to find out. This means well, it even tells you, look at that, focus on all frequencies. This means focusing on the lower frequencies. So in a sense, it's taking the reverb out of the lower. That's kind of what that representation. This one's the mid frequencies. This one's sort of loudness contouring, reverse loudness contouring the reverb, the lows and the highs. And this one, of course, would be then the highs. And then you have how much of it do you want from 0 to 100. Remembering that even in de-reverbing, maybe even especially with de-reverbing, there's always a coefficient between all the noise and all the artifacts. So you can never have no noise and no artifacts. You will either have no noise and all the artifacts, or no artifacts and all the noise. So there's somewhere in between, and in some ways kind of figure that out. We can cheat. All right, so let's just start with broadband and see what happens.
Check. 1,
this
2,
is nothing.
3. The reverberous bathroom sibilance.
Nice. We'll bring it up.
Check. 1, 2, 3.
Here's 50%.
The reverberous bathroom sibilance. Check. 1, 2, 3. The reverberous bathroom.
Pretty
sibilance.
good.
Check.
Let's try 75.
1, 2, 3. The reverberous bathroom sibilance. Check.
100?
1, 2, 3. The reverberous bathroom sibilance. Check.
Now, obviously, it's way too much, but we were getting a great result around 50.
Check. 1, 2.
Maybe 60?
Check. 1, 2, 3. The reverberous bathroom.
And if we turn it off?
Check. 1, 2, 3. The reverberous bathroom.
And you'll notice it's also doing a great job of cleaning up the high noise. It's also almost sort of like a denoising thing. And let's just run a pass of it here. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. At about 50%, just to see what it does. And we're going to hit apply. Now notice that all of this junk that was here, you can see it's sort of purpley, is now black, which means it absolutely has done a denoise pass of some kind, as well as bringing down the reverb. So let me undo, see if you can see it. Of course, it has to show me this. Redo. Undo. See how dirty this is.
Check. 1.
And then redo.
Check. 1, 2.
It's pretty great. So let's undo, and we'll try a few other settings. I mean, now, let's kind of just hit the button, broadband, be done. It's not perfect, of course. And we want to be able to tweak this, which is one of the things that's nice about being able to have these bandwidth selectors. So we know there's bad reverb down here in the low mid. So let's just take a look at the low and see what that sounds like.
Check. 1, 2, 3.
Broad.
Check. 1, 2, 3.
Mid.
Check. 1, 2, 3.
Low and high.
Check. 1, 2, 3.
And high.
Check. 1, 2, 3.
Now, because the nature of this bathroom has the reverb's pretty much in the low range, if you just use the high emphasis or bias, what you're really doing is doing a nice high band or a high frequency denoise. Pretty good. Check it out. Remember how this looks? Let me just see if I'm doing it. Yeah. So the purple here. Let's just do this. Hit apply. And now look. The reverb's undone, but look at how nicely it's done a contour on the noise. See how it's very, very dark here and then kind of turns into the pretty dope. All right, but we're going to undo that. There's where it was. I'm going to go back. De-reverb. But the real issue is in the low frequencies. So let's go low. Let's turn this up to 60%. And what's nice about it is, so sibilants in this case are being unaffected. So you don't get so much of that, artifacty whooshiness. That's pleasant. Maybe I should make a selection.
Check. 1, 2, 3. The reverberous bathroom sibilance. Check.
70.
1, 2, 3. The reverberous bathroom sibilance.
So that's just low. Let's remind ourselves what full bandwidth is like.
Check 1, 2, 3. The reverberous bathrooms.
It's not bad. I wouldn't go that far. Maybe for the full bandwidth, 65%.
Check 1, 2, 3. The reverberous bathrooms.
There's some artifacts in there, but I'd live with it for now. It'd be all right. So we're going to hit apply. And look how nice and black that is.
Check 1, 2, 3.
It's done a great job. But there's still that woo.
Check 1.
This horrific thing right here. Horrible. And it's loud enough where it just, the De-Reverb plugin doesn't do much. It's just all over the place. So we can use a little, we'll call it cinema soundcraft, because we talk about this in the fix volume. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a little kind of DIY fix. And what we can do is take this, just this. Oh, before I do this, also, some of you might be tempted, and I tried this, to go, oh, I bet you if I just select this part,
1, 2, 3,
and then do the denoise, that the bandwidths change. No, they don't. So if in this selection, if you were to say, oh, I just want the highs and hope to get this up here, it doesn't. It'll only work up here, which means you'll get nothing. So those bandwidths are fixed regardless of your selection. Kind of a drag, but I'll yell at him about it later. All right, so what we're going to do is take this craziness. We're going to go to Effects, Compression, Amplitude and Compression, Dynamics. We're going to use Auto Gate, and we're just going to see if we can gate those frequencies right there. Hopefully you've watched the chapters in the fixed volume about this, so you understand what I'm doing.
Check 1, 2, 3.
Because we just want to bring down the decay on that. We don't want that. It's still pretty loud. We're going to bring the threshold up a little bit. Hopefully it doesn't cut the voice off too much. And if I apply, you can see it's cut it down. Now the problem, of course, is it's messed with this entire bit of dialogue here.
Check 1, 2, 3. The reverberous
does nothing but make more artifacts. And in a perfect world, this would have worked fine, but this is a really bad situation. Audition has a really cool little feature. And we're going to cheat. We're going to hack this. So you can see that horrible thing right there. Boo, hiss. I'm going to go to Effects, Amplitude and Compression, Fade Envelope. All I want this thing to be is shorter. That little woo. And I've got all these fades that I can use. So we're just going to use the smooth fade out. And that's fine. We're going to hit apply. Now you can see that it's there.
1, 2.
And we might be able to do a little bit better. Let's see here. If I make this a little bit wider, a little bit shorter. Let's try this again. Amplitude and compression. Fade envelope process.
1, 2.
And we've got that. That helps. Let's do it again, because this is so much fun. Fade in envelope process. Bang. Makes it even shorter.
1, 2.
And if I really think it's too loud, I can select all, go to the gain, bring it down maybe 6 decibels.
Check 1, 2.
Gone.
Check 1, 2.
Now some of you are like, well, Mark, why don't you just erase it entirely? Well, because that's actually a part of my voice. And if I were to kill this whole thing like this.
Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2.
Kind of ugly. So we just want to bring it down a little bit. And what I did, remember, is I added a fade, made it fade off so that it got shorter, and then faded it off again, got shorter again, and then brought the whole thing down when it was more or less in line with the rest of these. And if we had another one, ooh, look at that juicy bump right there. Excuse me. All I did was make it louder. I went into my microphone. That was really smart. Good job. Here's another one.
1.
Okay.
1.
Oh, so much junk in there. Do the same thing. we can just take this, fade, same thing, and bring it down maybe double, 6 decibels or so.
Check 1.
All better.
Check 1. Check 1, 2, 3 in stereo.
Super cool. Of course, this was an uncorrected part. So now,
check 1, 2, 3. The reverberous bathroom sibilance.
and for those of you who are haters, this is the normalized version.
Check 1, 2, 3. The reverberous bathroom sibilance.
In Adobe Audition, you could never do this before. It was a big, big missing. And this really, really helps. Now look, I'm in a bathroom with a big, wide cardioid stereo microphone. Two big problems that should have gotten solved in recording, right? We know this. So hopefully this would never happen to you. This is a bad, bad case. But at least you can get somewhere with it. Let's check out something else. What's this one?
In studio, which theoretically...
Okay, so the studio in here, we're going to do the normalize. I haven't done this on these, so you're watching me do it along with everybody else.
In studio, which theoretically should be really dry, really, really dead in the control room, so there shouldn't be much to do here.
It's pretty dry, no question about that. But let's see if we can... There is a little reverb in there, not much. We'll just see what happens here. We'll use a little bit. It's not going to be in the high frequencies because those are all getting killed in the studio. It's going to be in the lows, so we'll just say low.
In studio, which theoretically should be really dry, really, really dead in the control room, so there shouldn't be much to do here.
Just a little 30%
in
of low.
Studio,
Here's
which
full
theoretically
bandwidth.
Should be really dry,
Ooh, that
really,
actually is
really
better.
dead in the
High.
control room, so there shouldn't be much to
Ooh,
do here.
I'm wrong. It's all in the high frequencies. Do we see that here? Not really.
Be really dry, really, really dead in the control.
I guess so. It's just here. Okay. I don't mind. Full bandwidth is fine with me.
Be really dry.
We'll process. And notice it did a nice little denoise.
In studio, which theoretically should be really dry, really, really dead.
It sounds like ADR, right? And that's on the, again, the IXY. I'm holding on my phone, the thing like this far away from me. Big hand. And that's pretty dope.
In studio, which theoretically...
Pretty dope. We're going to try this one. What's this one? Oop.
In a super small reflective ambience.
Okay, this is a really, really teeny bathroom, like 3 feet by 5 feet. All reflective. Normalize. 3 dB. Apply. Now let's take a listen.
In a super small reflective ambience, basically a reflective half bathroom with resonant frequencies and all kinds of other stuff.
You can hear that kind of that the room is adding to it. And you would normally, in any other world, have to deal with that with EQ, which is, of course, the wrong thing to do. You can see it bleeding all over the place here, coming off there. You know, just these lower reflections. There's not a lot going on in the high frequencies. It's just kind of everywhere. What a mess. So we've done our normalize, noise reduction, De-Reverb. Let's see what a full bandwidth will sound like.
In a super small reflective ambience, basically a reflective half bathroom with
probably the lows,
resonant frequencies and all kinds of other stuff. Let's
Mid.
see how this does. Other stuff. Let's see how this does. In a super small reflective ambience, basically a reflective half bathroom with resonant frequencies and all kinds
and if we
of
turn it
other
off,
stuff. Let's see how this does. In a super small reflective ambience, basically a reflective half bathroom with resonant frequencies.
okay, let's apply. Helps definitely with the noise.
In a super small reflective ambience, basically a reflective half bathroom with...
I'm not so sure that's actually better. It feels like because of the phase issues that are happening in that really, really short room, feels like it's actually, the dialogue's actually moving further away. Let's see if we undo.
In a super small...
That feels much more present to me than this.
In a super small reflective ambience, basically a...
So that's interesting. That's interesting. Let's try this one. What's this?
In a reflective dining room.
Dining room. Let's do that. Who's having fun? Oops. There we go. Normalize -3.
In a reflective dining room.
Than the bathroom, but not as much of it because it's a much larger room. Let's see what happens. Put it to El Testo.
In a reflective dining room, which has a lot of reflection, parallel ceilings, walls, floors, and some moderate absorption with some giant windows. Let's see how this does. In a reflective dining room, which has a lot of reflection, parallel ceilings, walls, floors, and some moderate absorption with some giant windows. Let's see how this does.
Well,
in a reflective dining room, which has a lot of reflection, parallel ceilings, walls, floors, and some moderate...
Let's apply. Definitely a beautiful, nice noise pass.
In a reflective dining room, which has a lot of reflection, parallel ceilings, walls, floors, and some moderate...
It's definitely clearer, for sure. All right, and our last example, I don't even remember what this is. Well, let's just normalize it right away. What do I got here?
In the bedroom...
Oh, a bedroom. Let's get rid of this for a second.
In a bedroom that's sort of reflective with sibilance
and a dog,
and it's still pretty short reverb, short sibilance, short bass, and still pretty reflective, even though there's a lot of sound absorption.
All right, so that upper low frequency, it's very subtle. It's actually not a bad recording. But let's see again. Put it to the test. De-Reverb, little 50%. Let's try it.
In a bedroom that's sort of reflective with sibilance, and it's still pretty short reverb, short sibilance, short bass, and still pretty reflective, even though there's a lot of sound absorption in here. In a bedroom...
That sounds nice. All right. Again, a nice denoise pass.
In a bedroom that's sort of reflective with sibilance, and it's still pretty short reverb.
Pretty cool. Remember in Adobe Audition, if you want to destructively change your files, see how all these have asterisks? All the asterisks are here. That means that it hasn't been saved. So if something happens, you crash in Adobe Audition or you just quit and don't save, all of your edits will be gone. So we have to save in Adobe Audition to get that to be overwritten on the files themselves. So right now we haven't done any of that. So let's open Isotope RX and see what that's like in their actual De-Reverb plugin. So I think I can do that by just going like this. Not iTunes, devil. In fact, let's just open all these. Open with RX6. Devil. iTunes. I hate that. You know, iTunes came from an app that was one of the most wonderful MP3 encoders ever, and I can't remember the name of it. And they bought it. Apple bought them and just ruined it. That's what I may have to do a little routing. Nope. Oh yeah, we're listening out of the speakers, so let's fix that. I want channel routing. Sorry, I got to do a little routing here so all y'all can hear it direct to the stream, not from my JBL Series 7s. Hello.
3, the reverberous.
Cool. We'll do the same thing that we've done before. Shouldn't be any big difference. Scroll down. Normalize. Look at that. It's like I've done this before. Process. Whammo. Now here's something that you didn't see in Adobe Audition just because it's a different kind of thing, different kind of view. Look at the MP4. Look at how little data is here in this MP4. I mean, that's why we don't record in compressed formats, folks. That's awful. Look at the dither noise. I mean, this is just, it goes up to about 14K, maybe 15 when there's actual noise, and that's it. So you're missing a whole bunch of stuff. If we go back here to Audition, You don't really notice it, but it's definitely there. This just cut off the top, which wasn't so awful to see. But now in RX, we can definitely see this distortion that's happening, all from MP4 compression. Don't record into your phone, even though it's easy, or don't expect to get super hi-fi results if you're recording in your phone. Okay, we're going to do the same thing, except we're going to go to De-Reverb, the plugin in RX. A little bit different. In De-Reverb, in fact, you must teach it what to do, what the reverb is, and unlike with denoise or anything like that, you actually teach RX by just playing the file with the reverb, with the dialogue or whatever, and it will figure out what the reverb is. So we're just going to go, I'm just going to say select all of this and learn. You can see it does its thing, yay, happy. And it comes up with, look at this, low, low, mid, high, very similar to what we saw in Audition, only you have sliders. You also have the reduction, how much of it do you want, and enhanced dry signal. What it basically does is try to figure out what is the original dry signal, and it boosts it. And then, of course, artifact smoothing, how much of that grainy nonsense chirpiness do you want? So let's take a listen to this.
Check. 1, 2, 3.
And if we turn this way up,
reverberous bathroom sibilance,
bass chirpiness,
frequency reflection.
That's because artifact smoothing is down all the way. So if we bring it up to 10,
check. 1, 2, 3. The reverberous bathroom sibilance, bass frequency reflection.
And
check.
Let's bring up the lows.
2, 3 in stereo. Check. 1, 2, 3. The reverberous.
Probably don't need the high frequency one on because there's just not a lot of reverb up here. But what's nice about this is that I can solo these bands.
Bathroom sibilant.
So this definitely, that woo that we hate so much, is definitely in this band. There's a little reverb in there. Almost no reverb in there, so we can bring this all the way down. And the more of these bands we can bring down, the less artifacts we're going to hear. And the predominant reverb is down here in this area anyway.
Check. 1, 2, 3. The reverberous bathroom sibilance, bass frequency reflection.
Hey, let me see this here, Leonardo. What are you saying? Something I really like in this new De-Reverb and denoise is that you can rack process it. You can use X% of De-Reverb focused on the lows and Y focused on the highs, for example. Yeah, not only can you do that, you can batch process. So you can do this over hundreds and hundreds of files if they all are recorded the same way. And using, Adobe Audition's, in my mind, the premier, no pun intended, the premier application for batch processing for any digital audio workstation. There's nobody that does the kind of power that Adobe has in being able to do all kinds of functions on hundreds and hundreds of files. All right, so this sounds pretty good.
Check. 1, 2, 3.
Let's process it. Bam, wha-bam. Okay. Notice that it does not do a denoise process. Look at all the junk that's still in here. Now the noise has been gone. If I undo, you can see that it returns. So this part's been definitely worked on. Let's do our little cheat here on the woo. I gotta remember my key commands. It's this one.
1, 2.
Oh man, that is horrible. I think in RX I go fade. Is it? Oh boy, I gotta remember my RX fade. There it is. Oh. Over here. And we want the log. We know we always love this log over any of the other ones. We're going to go process.
Check. 1, 2.
That actually kind of solved it right away.
1, 2.
Not bad. Not bad. Okay.
Check. 1, 2, 3. The reverberous bathroom sibilance.
So let's compare that with the Audition version of same, which I believe is that MP. That's the regular MP4. That's this one.
Check. 1, 2, 3. The reverberous.
Did it undo? Oh, there. I got to redo. That's why.
Check. 1, 2, 3. The reverberous bathroom sibilance.
And RX.
Check 1, 2, 3. The reverberous bathroom sibilance.
Well, they're both pretty good, and we might have gotten a little too hard on the Audition version. Let's just do a little less. I'm going to undo, go back to the normalize. I'm going to do this really fast so that we can compare fast. De-Reverb, not de-hummer, as useful as that plugin is, which it is incredibly so. De-Reverb. We're going to do this. We're going to go E. We're going to take this. Just in case you're joining us, this is exactly what we did moments ago. Repeat.
1, 1, 1, 1.
Oh, and we're just going to bring it down. I think we can get away with it just like this.
Check 1, 2.
All right, now let's compare.
Check 1, 2, 3. The reverberous bathroom sibilance.
Versus.
Check 1, 2, 3. The reverberous bathroom sibilance. Bass frequency.
Okay, so you can make up your own mind. For me, I don't like, I'll turn around. For me, I love that Audition does sort of a denoise pass. The machine learning that it has it take out the noise, which is super nice. What I like about RX is that it enhances the dry signal, so it feels more present to me, even though there's probably a little more reverb in there, even though it's certainly more noisy. Now, of course, we can go and do a denoise pass, but that's an extra step, and obviously we want to be as efficient as possible. So if there were a way, hopefully in new versions, that Audition will say enhance the dry signal so that the dialogue will come up, just make it louder over the reverb, that would, to me, make Audition the clear winner. Here, I think you're kind of getting apples and oranges. You get probably a better De-Reverb with Audition, but because of the enhanced dry, and certainly better denoise, more efficient use of your time, but I think RX has that better enhanced dry signal. Let's try another one. This is fun. Is this 5? Which one is this?
In studio,
Not the studio one. We know that one's fine.
A super small reflective.
Yeah, super small reflective room. Normalize. +3, -3. We're going to go, thank you so much. De-Reverb. We're going to say, please learn. Yay. And we're going to go like this.
In a super small
Take a listen.
reflective ambient.
Definitely reverb in there.
Half
Definitely reverb in there. Not much.
Super small.
Definitely reverb in there. Okay, so this is a full bandwidth one for sure.
With resonant frequencies and all kinds of other stuff. Let's see how this does. In a super small reflective ambience, basically a reflective half bathroom with resonant frequencies and all kinds of other stuff. Let's see how this does.
Ugh.
In a super small reflective ambience,
Pretty.
all kinds of other stuff.
All right, let's process. Just kind of a quick job. Well, bam. There we go. Let's compare it with the Audition, which, oh shoot, this is 4. BOA. There we go.
In a super small reflective ambience, basically a reflective half bathroom.
Cool.
In a super small reflective ambience, basically a reflective half bathroom.
I think here maybe RX has the edge. There's something phasey going on with the Audition De-Reverb because of this. There's so many reflections happening at once. It's kind of breaking down. Again, you have a much cleaner pass, however. There's no noise. It's beautiful. But then the RX still has that enhanced dry signal, which gives us a little more edge. But they're both great. Breath and DS to taste, Jerry Kerr. Hold on, let me go. I'm missing some stuff here. Sorry, gentlemen, ladies, gentlemen. John, welcome. For some reason, I like the job. Oh, yes. Do you do training on every tool inside Audition? Just about. And the good news is, very soon, like at the beginning of the year, I'm going to sit down with Duran Gleaves, who is head of development at Audition, and I'm going to make videos that take you through all of the plugins and functionality of Audition one plugin at a time, specifically around an independent creative media folk. It'll be on YouTube. I'll put it on YouTube for free for a while, but then we're going to take it off and turn it into a streaming product, most likely, depending on how well it does. But in the education right now, most of the plugins, in fact, I think there's probably fewer plugins that we don't talk about than there are. We talk about the channel mixer. We definitely talk about de-esser. Dynamics didn't come out by the time we had done this. We definitely talk about dynamics processing, gain, hard limiter for sure, multiband compressor like crazy, normalize, yes, single band like crazy, tube modeled, my favorite, love it. And then we definitely talk about the delay. We talk about the notch, definitely parametric EQ like it was water. Chorus, flanger, phaser, yes. We talk about pretty much all we do is noise reduction here. And then we do convolution reverb. We even show you how to make your own convolutions, which is so dope. And then, of course, the surround convolution reverb, which is off the hook. Definitely distortion, guitar suite like crazy. Loudness radar, absolutely. Vocal enhancer, we don't because we cover that in the Essential Sound panel, which we cover. Stereo imaging, stereo expander, like crazy. Central channel extractor, we have articles on that for sure, love it. And then we do the pitch shifter and the time, stretch and pitch. So that's kind of most. There's a couple in there we're going to cover. Certainly De-Reverb now and De-Hum, which weren't there when we did it before. So I'll be patiently waiting. Better idea, John. Go get the Cinema Sound education now and start if you haven't already. I mean, the mix volume basically covers every plugin you can think of or would really want to use, including vocoders and Logic Pro. And I mean, somebody help me out here. I mean, we cover a lot of stuff. Where do you find? Where does he find such things? I will type it. Give me a moment. Oh, how do I do this? Type. It is a bit.ly link, bit.ly. Stroke. Oh, it's at the bottom of the screen. There it is. Mark, buddy, you put it there. But I'll type it in because I like you, John. Bit.ly by Cinema Sound. There it is. Wham! But it is on the bottom of the screen. You can rent it. You can buy one chapter. But, John, you're obviously a member of Cinema Sound, which means you get a discount if you go back through your emails. If you buy any, they're called volumes. If you buy any volume in whole, you get like 30% off. You don't get it if you only buy one chapter or rent. But if you want to buy the whole thing, and it basically takes, I don't know, $280 off the whole thing. I'll make you a deal you can't refuse if you want the hard drive. Any of y'all, because you all are so cool and faithful for hanging out here with me on a Thursday night, except for you, Max, on a Friday afternoon. So, okay, this was a short one. Let's take a look at the next one. I'm not making this up. I have not tried this before. So, please make up your own minds. Don't listen to me as to which one you like. If you're doing a lot of dialogue cleanup, you need to have both products. You can't really do RX by itself. You can't do Audition by itself. I mean, unless you have crystal clear audio. But you're going to find yourself in a position where you're like, oh man, I really need some hardcore dialogue sound cleanup tools. And you can do a lot with Audition, but RX is, I mean, you all know, it's the thing. And RX7, from what I've seen, is, I couldn't imagine how they made it better than RX6, but they do. All right, so we're going to do this. I'm not going to listen. We know we want to normalize to -3. What do we have? Oh, this quantization is so horrible.
In a reflective dining room.
Great, here's the dining room. Bam, De-Reverb, learn. Let's take a listen to where that reverb might be, see if we can optimize.
Which has a lot of
in a reflective dining room.
For sure.
Which has a lot of reflection.
For sure. Not so much.
Windows.
That's another full bandwidth one. All right. Notice what it's done with the tail length. This right here. Tail length, I forgot to mention, is how long De-Reverb and Isotope RX expects that the real reverb length is. And at 3.2 seconds, it's probably a little long. Our kitchen doesn't have a reverb that's that long. So if you're not getting good results here, it might be, even after you've learned, it might be that you need to adjust the tail length. I would adjust the tail length if you're getting weird artifacts or not getting what you want before I did anything else. And in this case, I'm going to tell you right now, we don't have a 3 1/5 second tail.
A reflective dining room, which has a lot of in a reflective dining room, which has a lot of reflection, parallel ceilings, walls, floors, and some moderate absorption with some giant windows.
It's a weird ring.
In a reflective
Yeah. Here.
Parallel ceilings, walls, floors.
All right, let's process and compare, contrast. Ooh, here we go. Back to Audition. This is 3.
In a reflective dining room, which has a lot of reflection, parallel ceilings, walls, floors, and some moderate.
There we go.
In a reflective dining room, which has a lot of reflection, parallel ceilings, walls, floor.
One more time.
In a reflective dining room, which has a lot of reflection, parallel ceilings,
And
floors,
oops.
and
Sorry.
in a reflective dining room, which has a lot of reflection, parallel ceilings.
For me, again, you're dealing with the same thing. A beautiful denoise pass makes it very clean, a little too clean in Audition. But I think here RX did a better De-Reverb, which it hasn't done. I think Audition has done a better De-Reverb, but here actually I think RX in the longer, quieter reverb of the kitchen, I believe, for me, it's doing better. Add to that it's got that dialogue enhancement, and I think RX for a longer reverb is probably a clear winner. Let's check out recording number 2. We're going to go normalize. And for those of you who have accused me of saying, oh, you just sell us stuff because they're your sponsor. Well, Isotope isn't our sponsor right now, and Adobe is, so don't be like that. I'm giving you the straight dope. We're going to learn. God, this quantization data. I just can't tell you how horrible this is. Oh, that's just wrong, folks. I believe it's the first volume, first chapter, the record volume, the first chapter. I show you MP3, if you remember, MP3 compression, and we do a bunch of processing in MP3, and you can see it, and you can absolutely hear the difference. Everybody's like, oh, you can't hear. In that, even if you stream it from Vimeo, you will hear the difference. You will certainly see it on the spectrogram, but it is like, oh, I can hear it. It's anybody on the street could hear it. Off my high horse, I will go. Here we go.
in a bedroom that's sort of reflective with
Sibilance.
Yeah, definitely.
And
Definitely.
reverb.
Nope.
Short bass.
Nope. And the reason we don't have high frequency reflection is because there's a giant king size bed in there in a very small room. So the bed's just killing off the high frequencies. They probably hit the bed and go, mm-hmm. Or if they reflect at all, they go, mm-hmm. You know. But the bass, the low frequencies, happily run amok.
In a bedroom that's sort of reflective with sibilance, and it's still pretty short reverb, short sibilance.
That's lovely. All right, we'll just process this whole thing. Didn't have to do much. But back we'll go again. Gosh, two. Yeah.
In a bedroom that's sort of reflective with sibilance, and
I'm going to do a better job with this one, just because I think I can. There's a mid-range kind of wah, tactical term wah, that's in there that I think we can fix a little bit better.
In a bedroom that's sort of reflective with sibilance, and it's still pretty short reverb, short sibilance, short bass, and still pretty reflective, even though there's a lot of sound.
Cool.
Sibilance.
All right, here it is.
In a bedroom that's sort of reflective with sibilance, and it's still pretty
Isotope.
in a bedroom that's sort of reflective with sibilance, and it's still pretty short reverb.
Once again, that dog.
In a bedroom that's sort of reflective with sibilance, and it's still pretty short. In a bedroom that's sort of reflective with sibilance, and it's still pretty short.
I don't know what you think, but it's deceptive. As we know, when anything's louder, we like it better. And the Isotope D-reverb is louder because it's enhancing and making the dry signal louder. I'll show you. We'll go to the waveform view. I'll undo. Look at the difference. That's the before the D-reverb. That's after. So we're sort of falling prey to our brains lying to us because it is making it louder. Let me see if I can actually compensate for that. I think I can. Let's undo. I'm thinking it will retain my settings.
In a bedroom that's sort of reflective with sibilance, and it's still pretty short reverb, short sibilance, short bass.
Let's just do that. Now, we should have a better balance.
In a bedroom that's sort of reflective with sibilance, and it's still pretty...
It's not going over. That's very nice. This.
In a bedroom that's sort of reflective with sibilance, and it's still pretty...
It's still better. I think RX gets it on this one for short reverbs, this kind of short thing. So it's just me, that enhanced dry signal thing really makes a big difference. And I think it's also done a superior job on the reverb. So for the bathroom, I'd give it to Audition pretty much, probably a 60-40. For the kitchen, I'd give it 60-40 to Isotope. And then for this, I'd probably do 70-30 Isotope. And it's not to say that the Audition version is not as good. I mean, they've been perfecting, Isotope's been perfecting its D-reverb since what, version 5? And this is version 1.0 in Audition. And I am so thrilled that we can get anywhere near this.
In a bedroom that's sort of reflective with sibilance.
I mean, that's astonishing given that this is what it was.
In a bedroom that's sort of reflective with sibilance. And
actually, yeah, that's what it was. That's pretty great. I kind of jumped into making the contrast and comparison. I wasn't expecting to, but it's good to do it. And, you know, if you can't afford the $1,100 that RX costs, RX Advanced, we would understand. And using some of the tools that we talk about in the Cinema Sound Education, you can now, especially with D-reverb, do some really powerful things like we did doing some of the manual editing of some of that stuff, some of those frequencies that were kind of, you know, messing around. And you still have all the capabilities of being able to move around and heal and, you know, do all the brushing and lassoing, you cow folk, cowboy, cowgirl folk.
in a bedroom that's sort of reflective with...
Cool. So, and all that power is still available to you. All, not to mention all of this other stuff here, which we haven't talked about, dealing with clicks and pops, which has come in a few versions ago, I think, which has been super, super helpful, along with the healing brush tool. Cool. Let me see what we got here. Yeah, there's slight artifacts because it's, I don't know actually what it's using. Before it was always Fast Fourier, which always is not quite as good as some of the stuff that they're doing in Isotope land. How does it control tail length? Well, like I said, it's in Audition, it's machine learning. In Isotope, I'm not sure. I believe it's just an algorithmic way of, because you have to teach it. That you teach it means that it's learning from the product, or sorry, from the content. But for Audition, it has machine learning, which is like, that's probably reverb, that's probably not. After, I don't know how machine learning works, maybe some of you do. But they run thousands and thousands and thousands of examples of this is dialogue, this is reverb into your program, and it comes up with its own artificially intelligent algorithms, which is like, what? And the new versions of RX, especially with dialogue, what's it called? Dialogue isolate. In fact, let's just try dialogue isolate on this. Let's see what it'll do. It actually learns what dialogue is. It knows after thousands and thousands of tries. And I don't think I need that much. Let's leave the dialogue gain up. Saturation strength is here. It takes it a very long time to process. But for some really bad audio situations, it does a great job of fixing. It'll actually find stuff that's like clunks and clanks and pops and artifacts, and it'll just go, oh, that's not dialogue. Get rid of it and heals it and does all this calculation. I mean, look how long it's taking to do this. The regular denoise would take a moment to process 2 channels of audio like this, but this really goes through and chunks the bits. Let's see. While that's doing that, looks like Audition we need to de-reverb and then try some speech, volume leveler. Maybe. Yeah. Speech volume leveler, which your basic rate. Yeah, I would absolutely. We talk about the process for doing this. Let me get to that in a moment. Let's see how we did here.
In a bedroom that's sort of reflective with sibilance and
doesn't really do much to the reverb, but we could clean it up anyway. It's kind of a clean recording. All right, so looks like an Audition we need to de-reverb and then try some speech volume leveler. It depends on your, you know, if you're just doing like a podcast, then yeah, you could. I wouldn't. I would take this track. Let's go back to where we were here, nice and processed. I'm going to go, that's recording number 2. I'm going to drag this as a stereo track. I'm going to drag it over here. We will solo. Oh, look, where will we be? We will be in the center channel. That's okay.
In a bedroom.
Let's take it out of this. Let's take it out of the surround emulation.
In a bedroom.
As much fun as that is, let's just take it out for a second.
In a bedroom.
Oh, Mark, wrong channel, buddy boy. This a one. And the reason I can't is because it's emulated.
In a bedroom.
There we go. You were in a theater there for a moment.
In a bedroom that's sort of reflective with sibilance.
At this point, I would start adding plugins, and we talk about this extensively in the edit and, of course, in the mix volume where we talk about how to do these kinds of mixes and edits. I would just go to track effects, and I would just start adding compression. I love the tube model compressor if you want a single band compressor. It's beautiful.
In a bedroom that's sort of
nice
reflective
little
with
1.8 to 1 with a 48 millisecond.
Still pretty short reverb. Short sibilance, short bass, and still pretty reflective, even though there's a lot of sound absorption here. In a bedroom that's
just taking the edge off the highs, or we can happily do my favorite plugin in Adobe Audition, one of the best multi-band compressors anywhere in the world. Let's see, we're going to link band controls, I don't know, somewhere here. 2 to 1 will be okay. We're going to make it nice and slow.
In a bedroom that's sort of reflective with sibilance, and it's still pretty short reverb, short sibilance, short bass, and still pretty reflective, even though there's a lot of sound absorption.
And with a 50 millisecond attack, you're getting punch. It's making it a little more punchy. In a bedroom.
In a bedroom.
Whereas if we make it super short.
In a bedroom that's sort of reflective.
Notice how it's not punchy at all. All the attacks are gone. But we run it out to 50 or so.
In a bedroom that's sort of reflective with sibilance.
And we can split the difference, put it somewhere here, 25.
In a bedroom that's sort of reflective with sibilance, and it's still pretty short reverb. Short sibilance, short bass, and still pretty reflective.
So that's what I would do. And maybe, one of the things that we had a great time doing with the Adobe Premiere Pro audio presets, which we're doing with the other two, is one of the things I learned working for Michael Boddicker, which is layering 2 compressors together in series so that one fixes up the other one. And what's really cool is if you use a multi-band compressor, and then use that cool tube. I know we're jumping into mixing here, but you asked a question, and I'm out of content. Here we go. Let's see. Let's make this a 2.5 now. We'll call this, what am I at? These are 25, so this probably needs to be in the 20. We'll make this quite short.
In a bedroom that's sort of reflective with sibilance, and it's still pretty short reverb, short sibilance, short bass,
Make it even.
and still pretty reflective, even though there's a lot of sound absorption in here. In a bedroom that's sort of
now it's super smooth. You know, a multi-brand that's kind of messing with the sound a little bit, balancing the overall sound and the volume, and then an actual compressor that's not having to work so hard getting that pumping action, because the sound's already been sort of pre-pumped, pre-compressed, but super nicely because of the multi-band nature of it. And then you hit it with that beautiful analog sounding tube compressor, and it makes it super smooth.
in a bedroom that's sort of
and if you want to strip out the punch, you wouldn't do it here. You'd punch it here and then make that attack shorter on this end.
in a bedroom that's sort of reflective with sibilance, and it's still pretty short reverb.
And obviously we brought this way down, and then we would compensate. Well, at this point, we probably should compensate just with the fader.
In a bedroom that's sort of reflective with sibilance, and it's still pretty short reverb.
Cool. Now, notice with compression, and if you're doing boosting with EQ, artifacts from processing are enhanced. Not made better, I mean amplified. You will hear them more because artifacts are always at the bottom of the volume spectrum. And if you compress, meaning the louds are getting brought low, and then you bring everything else up, what you're really doing is bringing up, obviously, the noise, the track noise, but also where those artifacts are hiding. So, you know, you want to be careful when we're doing a lot of compression, and you can already hear those artifacts that we did in the de-reverbing are starting to come up.
In a bedroom that's sort of reflective with sibilance.
Well, Jerry, it's a good question. No limiting. I don't like to limit dialogue. One of the reasons I don't is because I believe, and I can demonstrate as I just did, that to create balance and automated, you know, balancing of dynamic tracks, I don't need to use a draconian, you know, like a sledgehammer limiter. I can use really subtle and, you know, soft, easy settings to get the compressors, or even a single compressor, to contour and control the highs. And then I have my dynamics. Now, there are other plugins that we've talked about. Waves, we also go into Waves plugins, which I really recommend. Waves has I mean, you know, some of the best compressors in the world, as far as I'm concerned. Not to mention Vocal Writer and all those other great things that they use in music that I will tell you again, use on your dialogue. But you don't need to do that. You can use these built-in plugins. I'll show you. I'll show you. If we use a limiter, what we are really doing, hard limiter, is crushing any dynamic range over a certain threshold. I'm going to unlink these channels. I'm going to make the release time. Also, to be fair, the Adobe Audition limiter only goes to 40 milliseconds. And as we've demonstrated in the education, that really makes any kind of hard crushing obvious, because the release can't recover fast enough. And that's kind of a drag. So we're going to make the look ahead time about 10 milliseconds. We're going to do, this doesn't matter, and we will do -0.1 decibels.
In a bedroom that's sort of reflective with sibilance, and it's still pretty short reverb, short sibilance, short bass, and still pretty reflective.
Now we're going to bring up the input boost.
A lot of sound absorption in here. In a bedroom that's sort of reflective with sibilance, and it's still pretty short reverb, short sibilance, short bass, and still pretty reflective, even though there's a lot of sound absorption.
So it works, right? I mean, it's absolutely, we've taken, even if you look at the meters, you've taken it, and we are hitting that level, not going over, and that's very helpful. But what it's done is really brought up the noise floor in a way that we didn't really have to do in a compressor. Why? Well, in a compressor, because the ratio is so much lower, I mean, a limiter is basically infinite to 1. In a compressor, I can bring the threshold down deep into the peaks of the signal, but because the ratio is so low, it doesn't crush it down. It just kind of says, oh, be nice, get maybe a little bit softer. And that kind of says all of these, I have a huge range of get a little bit softer instead of a limiter where I can only bring it down so far. You don't get to go any farther. And like this. And if I start bringing it down further, you really start hearing that, that boom, pumping situation.
In a bedroom that's sort of reflective with...
And contrast that with this.
In a bedroom.
Which, of course, is much, much softer. I'll tell you what, here's what we'll do. We will compensate. So it is a true thing. 8 decibels from an EQ. The EQ is not working other than just acting like an internal fader.
In a bedroom.
Which it probably needs to be more. I really cranked that hard limiter. Let's go to 12. 12.
In a bedroom that's sort of reflective with sibilance and it's still pretty short.
As opposed to this.
In a bedroom that's sort of reflective with sibilance and it's still pretty short reverb.
You can hear a lot more background. It's still very dynamic. It's still very much where we want it to be and balanced, but we've lost the character of it, especially in that low mid-range. And we're definitely, again, the background noise, the dog is definitely much louder. To your point, should we ever use limiting, which you didn't ask, but probably are? Absolutely. In fact, if we go to the mixer, look at what I got here. On the master output, hard limiter, minus 0.2 decibels. I'm boosting everything by double, and unlinked channel, same thing. Because I don't want the master to go over, right? That's what this is. It's basically a protection. It's an insurance policy, which is super cool. But that's a great question. Why wouldn't we use limiters on dialogue? You can. There's way more control. And let's say you needed a situation where you wanted a much faster much faster release than the hard limiter will provide, which right now is only 40 milliseconds, which is kind of slow for a hard limiter. Well, what we can do is simulate that same thing by going 30 to 1. Will it go higher? No, it will not. 30 to 1 isn't infinite, but that's a lot. That means that for every decibel that a sound goes over the threshold, it is cut by a 30th. That means it is 1/30th of a decibel at 1 decibel, right? At 10 decibels, it is 1/3 of a decibel. So it's not exactly infinite, but that's a lot of compression. But it allows us to have a very fast attack and a very fast 5 millisecond or so release, which is what we would expect for a mastering plugin to do.
In a bedroom that's sort of reflective with sibilance and it's still pretty short reverb, short sibilance, short bass, and still pretty reflective, even though there's
and we have the ability to change a lot more parameters. It's not quite the same thing, and you would certainly never do this on a master output because the sound will still go over if you're that close to 0. Cool. Any other questions? We are now, as always, over time. It's 7:10 here on the Pacific Coast of North America. Roll them on. If not, hopefully this has been helpful for you to see and hopefully help you delve into the wonderful world of De-Reverb and Adobe Audition. I knew there's a whole bunch of new stuff that's in Audition, including new interfaces, some new GUI options, and of course, some new awesome destructive plugins. Let's see. I'm going to just make sure, John, that you got what you needed there for the education. If not, I'll be on here for a few minutes just putting stuff away. Also, probably, Jody, what I'm going to do is just see if I can make an RAR file for you. I'll upload it, and then I guess I'll just email you and just say, hey, download this and see if it works. I know it's late. You don't have to do it tonight, but I will do it tonight for you. Yeah, John. Lots more where that came from. Cool. Without any further questions, I'm going to unsolo. Han Solo. How sad is it that there's not going to be any more Solo movies? Maybe I'm the only one who liked that movie. I loved that movie. It was so cool. I loved it. But, Disney has to make $1 billion. I mean, after all, they put so much print and advertising into that movie. I guess they do have to make money somewhere. Ho hum. Let's see here. There we go. No. We'll just do this. There we go. Add back, we go to music. I'm going to be here for a couple more minutes. Probably trying to figure out how to get Jody's upload going. Just go ahead and ask questions if you have anything else, and I'll try to answer them. Otherwise, have a wonderful holiday season, everybody. And we'll see you in 2019, unless the flat earthers are right, in which case I probably won't. Let's see. John, when you say, can you export a single track in 5.1 out of a multi-track project, do you mean like left or right surround or LFE? Is that what you mean? Because when you're in a 5.1 project, there's a whole bunch of ways that you can export. And I just want to make sure if that's what you understand. Thanks, Jody. Thanks, Jerry. Merry Christmas, world. What am I doing here? I'm looking at the Foley library while John answers my question back to him. Store files, Foley library. Where are Jody's files? There they are. Here's the coded Jody files. That's 3.5 gigs. I know that one's not going to be. It's 12 gigs, 7 gigs. All right, so we're going to try this with Skin. Okay, so John, when you say separately, you're talking, okay, I've got a 5.1 mix, and I want to split out left by itself. Or do you want to have them export as independent mono files, like 6 independent mono files? Or you just want to get one out? Let me know which way you want that. Thank you, Leonardo. Have a great one yourself, sir, down in the south in the summer. Must be hot. And you too, Max. I miss the Australian summer. I really do. Let's see. Oh, you just answered. I'm sorry, John. Distributors, 6 independent 5.1 tracks separately. Yes, we can do that. Let me show you while this does what it's going to do. I'm going to take you back here. Kill the music. Back to the mixer. So let's say I have a 5.1 mix, which I happen to have here. Yay! Here's a 5.1 mix bus. These are the dialogue tracks. We did this on previous episodes where we've routed our various master tracks to, or our various tracks to an actual bus. Here's bus A. Let's in fact route, say, the dialogue to bus A. Well, let's see. What's the best way to show you how to do this? Well, it doesn't matter. We'll send these to the 5.1 master. 5.1 bus, which is this bus right here. 5.1 bus. And right now these are stereo stems, but they are routed via surround, just like this. I'll show you what I mean. These are from a movie that I did.
Latest intel is 2 Turk destroyers plus support vessels. We outgunned them 2-1, so... That's an awful risk for some raiders.
So we've got all the tracks rolling. We'll go back to the mixer. I'll engage the 3D system.
Latest intel is 2 Turk destroyers plus support...
Cool. Now, how do we get this out? Well, because I don't want to export this whole thing because it would take a long time. I'm just going to use a little bit of it. Just this bit of dialogue just right here.
Latest intel is 2 Turk destroyers plus support vessels. We outgunned them 2-1, so latest intel is...
Cool. We're going to go export, multi-track mixdown, just to time selection, just for me, so I don't have to spend all the time. But you would normally do the entire session. Time selecciones. You can do AIF, and let me just make sure this is going to be correct. Sample rate conversion, I only want 48K. Channels, that's fine. Bit depth 32. Dithering crossover, I would want this to be 24. And I want this to be 24-bit integer, mixdown options. Here we go. So I can say, hey, so make this the stereo output, but that's not what we want. We also don't want the master output of the 5.1. We want our bus that we made down here in bus, 5.1 bus. Now include open files after export, embed, edit, and link data. You know what? Make sure this is going to do what I want. Source channels. Huh. Let me see what happens here. Let's put this on the desktop, just for kicks. Just so I have an easy access to it. Let's have it do its thing. If not, if this isn't going to do what I think it will do, then we're going to send it to Media Encoder. Wow, guys, are we really taking this long? It's really hot. I'll bet it is. Summer, man, summer. Let me just check here how we're doing. Well, this is still crunching numbers. Sorry, it's wanting to take a long time. Hi, you did it. Okay, let's look. Desktop, how did we do? I don't like what I see. Whoa. Oh, there it is. Okay. This, then, is an integrated boo hiss. All 6 channels in one. Boo. Ugly. Yes, I'm sure it does not. Okay, please stop. Oh, yes, you're going to be a jerk. Okay, just fine. Then let's do Media Encoder. Please go away. I have had enough of you. Edit, export with Adobe Media Encoder. It will have to boot Adobe Media Encoder. In the meantime, we will send this to the desktop. We want the time selection. And it's booting it, or should be. On my computer, it takes forever to do this. There it is. Hi. –71°F at 1:20 a.m. Oh, man. Too much. Well, at least you live down there. Nice place. I just downloaded the new version of Media Encoder. That's why it's going, hey, let me make sure I've got all this. I normally do all of my exports out of Media Encoder because it's multi-processor aware, much smarter. Yes, we good? Okay. AAC audio. I want AIF. Thank you very much. I want 48 kilohertz. Yes, thank you. And all right, so what I want is the 5.1 bus. This is not showing it to me. I want AIF. Maybe it will only do this. Oh my lord, not 16-bit. Please no. Range. Animated. I can see what you mean. This isn't so obvious. I normally don't have to do this. Routing options. I'm only getting stereo out. Export. Well, maybe. Oh my gosh. 16-bit. Let me see what happens if I send it over here. Send it to Media Encoder, and usually from Media Encoder we can change some settings. But what I'm seeing now is stereo, which is really not cool. Of course, you can always export as that integrated file, interleaved file, and then bring it back into Audition and split them off, but why would we do that? What a mess. Come on, kids. People are in other time zones. Oh my gosh. Now, this is what I get for having a gigantic file, I suppose. I just said not to do that. I just said do time selection. Export. Media encoder. Time selection. Routing options. Bus A 5.1. This will not let me do the 5.1 bus. Am I in a stereo session? Shouldn't be. Maybe I am. Well, it still should be coming out here. Indeed it is. Okay. Well, let's try this. I think the reason I'm having this problem is because I'm actually in a stereo session. So let me close this for a second. Actually, I'll just open a new session. Multi-track session. Call this 5.1. This may be the reason. 5.1 session. Okay, let's just take this silly recording.
Check. 1.
Great. And then we're going to go to the mixer, make sure
Check.
it's going out.
1.
There it is. Let's send it to all channels, including the LFE. Who's having fun now? Yay.
Check.
Now it's
1.
going to all channels. Let's also assign it to a bus. We will make a 5.1 bus track that will then be assigned as channel.
Check. 1.
And now I should be able to, I can do the entire session because it's the only thing in here. Master embedded original link data, link, no. Bus A, entire session, just fine. Okay. Channels, left, mix, right. Sample rate conversion, bit depth is all fine. We just did that. Okay, so that isn't going to change anything, I don't think, but let's try it. See what I got out of that. Nope, same thing. Take 2. Export. Media encoder. I want, that's still not going to let me do it. Boo. Huh. What if I go wave? Nope. Nope. All right, let's try MXF. Nope. Crazy, dude. How? I know I've done this. AIF. Is this a new bug, or am I just losing my mind? It's a very reasonable request. I mean, that's required, a requirement. Mix down options, master. I don't want that. I want this. Range is entire session. Let's just try wave. Because sometimes Yeah. Don't need that. That's all we're going to get out of that. Include markers and open files after export. Let's try it. Nope. So if I take this file, sorry, move this over here. There's all the channels. Bummer. Now, one of the cool things about Audition that only Audition does right now is that if I Option hold this down, it will see how it splits them all off into mono, which is super cool in the session. Notice it's left and right up here at the top, centers its own low frequency effects, and then stereo surround. It's super dope. I just held down Option as I dragged it in there, which is super cool. But that doesn't help you, because now what you would have to do is export and then re-export these, which is a total drag. Am I gonna get mad if I look this up? Because this is impossible to me. Let's see. Let's search Adobe support together. Let's find this out. Export discrete. How do you spell discrete? 5.1 channels. Audition, 501 enhanced your experience, whoopee, new features, dynamic linking, supported file formats. Automatic speech alignment, which is amazing. All right, well, let's see if we get lucky here. I don't think we will, but let's try it. Following options: sample type, format setting, data compression, storage mode, editing, CD burning applications. I know there's a way to do this, and I think that, there we go. Appends the channel name to each extracted file name. For example, waveform editor, choose edit, extract channels to mono files. Oh, yeah. Right. So here's what you'd have to do. Export, just like we did. You're going to get this kind of thing here. Now, we've already brought it back in. Here's the mixdown file. If I double click it, here's the files in the editor, in the spectral view, yes? Now, select all, right click, if I remember right. Where is it? If you see it before I do, convert sample, there it is. Extract channels to mono files. There they all are. If I save, it will ask me where I want to put them. Let's happily put them in the 5.1 session. And 24-bit, wave uncompressed, PCM, just fine. Now, I still didn't do it. I just got RS out of that. Why is that? Hello. Oh, I gotta do this to all of these. Desktop 5.1 session. I'm just clicking on these and hitting save. Now they should all be there. There they are. Well, that's sort of a drag, but that's the workaround to get those out of there. Not the end of the world. There's got to be a better way to do this. Let's try this one more time. I won't. This file right here, 5.1. Extract channel to mono files. Bang, it does that. If I say take all of these, close selected files, will it ask me to save them? Yes. Yes to all. That's how we do it. It's going to the desktop session. Okay. 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 There. There it saves them all. So I just selected them all, told to close them, And of course, it won't close without asking you first, do you want to save? And then you save, and then you're good. All right, John. That's kind of a drag. I'm going to have to ask them about that because that's just weird. That's what that is. Cool. Great question. I mean, you stumped me. So excellent question. Hopefully that helps you. Anybody else got some questions? Let's see. Sorry, Leonardo, I can't help you with the 90 degrees. Kind of wish I were down there with you. Be awesome. I've never actually been to Brazil. Brazil. La, da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Oops. Oh. Is that a fact? So I'm just trying to get the music up and running again. You're welcome, John. Yeah, those are all separate 5-1 stems. They're all the stems. These little dudes here. Left, center, left, LFE, LSR, and RS in alphabetical order, of course. There's a bunch of them because I saved it more than once, but that's why they're there. That's how you get them out. Bring them back into the spectral view, export, convert to monofiles, then select them all in the file menu, save, or close, then save, and you're good to go. Kind of a pain, but at least it could be done. Didn't always used to be that way. Intro music. You're welcome, sir. You are so welcome. So weird. 5-1 bus. Oh, whatever. Thank you, John. You already are, sir. So Jody, I'm just trying to figure out how to get you an RAR file from a Mac, which exceeds my knowledge as well. How about making a zip file for a PC on Mac? How do I zip a file on a Mac? On Windows. Mac's open zip. How do I create a zip file? Zip is now built into the Finder. Select the files you want to copy in the zip drive. You can discontiguously select files. All right, folks, I'm just going crazy here, so I'll let you go. Have a wonderful holiday season. I'll see you in 2019.